It was a long and controversial process from start to yesterday. But 8 years after Deval Patrick signed the legislation, a lot of community pushback, and a Me Too scandal that threatened to derail it all, the Encore Casino in Everett is officially open for business. Some waited upwards of 10 hours yesterday for the grand opening of Encore Boston Harbor, which is neither in Boston nor on the harbor, by the way. Something Everett Mayor Carlo Di Maria Jr. was celebrating.
We will no longer be the back door to the city of Boston. We will now be the front door to the city of Everett.
And to 5,000 new employees. Of course, some thought yesterday would never happen. You'll remember Encore was investigated by the state's gaming commission and was ultimately fined $35 million over its handling of rape and sexual assault allegations against Steve Wynn, the former CEO of its parent company, Wynn Resorts. And after the investigation, the company seriously considered selling the casino to MGM Resorts. And if you ask Boston Globe reporter Mark Arsenault, who's been covering the casino since the very beginning, right now, one thing is for sure. For better or worse, he wrote, Greater Boston is now and for the future a casino town. We invited Encore President Bob DeSalvio to join us. He declined, saying he'd be happy to be with us after the casino has been open longer. Joining me, though, to discuss are my Boston Public Radio co-host and fellow traveler to the resort yesterday, and Globe columnist Margery Eagan, Boston Globe business columnist and GBH contributor Shirley Leung. Good to see you, Shirley. Charlie Chieppo is senior fellow at the Pioneer Institute and former policy director for Governor Romney. He hasn't been there. They have. Give me a sentence or two on our trip yesterday, Marjorie, would you say?
Well, you know, I don't think Boston is a casino town. I think Everett is a casino town. And they cleaned up the Monsanto dump, and that was absolutely great. That never would have happened. It doesn't smell like sulfur anymore. It was high-end, this casino. Not that I'm an expert on casinos, but it looked pretty high-end to me. They had beautiful tiles at the front door. They had the beautiful carousel. I understand that there was artwork above every urinal in the men's room.
I was in the urinals. I can speak to that.
And that was, the women's room was very impressive. And
no box scores? No,
that's what we usually have.
Only the bars. No, I didn't.
Okay.
And there was the bad incident when Jim had to trample the little people.
No, it was getting back on the bus.
Because he had to wait too long.
That was the first day thing.
They were little and they were very old.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Marjorie. What was it? You didn't go on opening day, but you were there a couple of times prior to opening day.
For the media preview. And, you know, I like to tell people, you know, what is Encore like? And I said, imagine the Four Seasons or the Mandarin Oriental birthed a casino, it would be a Wynn Resort and Encore Casino. And that's how high-end it is. And, you know, you didn't talk about the floral carousel.
Beautiful.
83,000 flowers?
83,000,
What happens when they die?
I think they're silk flowers. I don't think they're real.
Oh, they are. Okay, fine.
But I think it was very, it's very luxurious. And you said Boston isn't a casino town. I think there are a lot of people with a lot of disposable income, and I think part of Boston will become a casino town.
Well, we saw a lot of people there yesterday without a lot of disposable income, which is another issue. What do you think? You didn't go yesterday. What do you think are some of the issues that are going to have to be looked at by policymakers as this moves ahead?
Well, a few issues. One, you know, casinos are kind of like government's declaration of surrender. You know, basically saying we can't balance the budget, we don't know how to do this, and so we'll just do casinos.
And we have to raise taxes.
Yes, right. And so one of the things that I would look at is that I think they're going to be exactly like convention centers, which is the sense that you take this number, which is supposed to be their economic impact, and you divide it by 3, and then that's what you're really talking about on the upside. And the downside, of course, is that, you know, I don't think you're may see a lot of high-end people there. My guess is you're going to see a lot of retired people on fixed incomes, but I don't think you're going to see a lot of people from outside the area who are bringing money to the Boston area.
Well, that's what they're betting on big time. But, you know, the one thing you didn't mention, you're the traffic guy. And, you know, some people believe, you in particular, you weren't crazy about the Olympics. You love the Olympics. But maybe, just maybe, if it fixed the traffic thing, is it possible? I mean, yesterday was not horrible as opening days go. I think they manage it as well in terms of traffic. Is it possible that they may contribute to the solution rather than being part of this horrible problem we're living in?
Well, I think certainly more immediately they're going to contribute to the problem. But now, whether over time dealing with that might contribute to the solution, I hope so.
You know, one of the things that you, I am told, asked the question at the press conference of Matt Maddox, who's the CEO, about something we were shocked to learn just a few days ago. Maybe it's our fault, which is there's no big name entertainment.
No.
There's not a theater.
I mean, that's what you think of the Vegas casinos.
Yeah.
They have
which is a big draw for a lot of people.
Exactly. And
So
And I asked Maddox this question, and he said, they do have entertainment, but it's private. I think Earth, Wind, and Fire are coming for a private event.
VIP thing.
But one of the things that he talked about is that this could be the beginning of an entertainment district. The Casino Azori bought about 11 acres over the last recent years, and so they could expand into Everett, another part of Everett, to build maybe arenas and maybe more venues.
The thing I don't understand about this, which is open to any of the three of you, again, I am not an expert in this area either. I've read a lot about it since the wars that led to Deval Patrick signing it, and then the ballot question to repeal it, which failed. If you're not a gambler, you go for the cheap food, and it was not particularly cheap, I should say, yesterday when we checked it out, even though the all-you-can-eat was only $38.99. Looked pretty good to me. But putting that aside for a second, or the entertainment, and if you don't have entertainment and you don't have to go there for a restaurant, what's the lure for the non-gambler?
The non-gambler. It's a lure for me because I'm curious. I'm a looky-loo. I just like to go where people watch.
How many times do you do that?
Well, I think I would go, and if I wanted to check out the restaurants. I mean, I probably wouldn't be there because I'm not a gambler. I wouldn't be there all the time. But it's probably no different if I went to another venue in Boston maybe 4 times a year.
One thing we should say, because I don't want to be negative, there were Tory Bedford, our colleague, encountered a couple of people, some brothers, the Stanley Brothers from Salem, New Hampshire, who were loving every minute of it. And I think in the spirit of fairness, we should show a little bit of them. Here they are.
Having a good time. Yeah. We got the penthouse, just chilling.
What do you think? And what do you think of the casino?
It's nice. It's a 10 out of 10. Yeah. Just wish it was a little bit bigger. Other than that, beautiful.
15 years old, by the way. There are two things. One thing that hasn't gotten enough play, there was a piece in the Globe the other day about how we discussed this, all the diversity stuff that so many venues talk about, the casinos are actually meeting. But equally importantly, the thing that I think surprised most of us is if you go to major entertainment venues in this town, they're mostly white people. Yeah. Yeah. This was the most diverse major entertainment setting, which and to some people may be a great thing. To other people who are worried about low and moderate income people losing money might be a bad thing. What's your takeaway on that issue?
No, that's absolutely true. And you know what we forgot to mention?
Yeah, go ahead.
To change topic. But when you sat in the seats, whether you were in front of the slot machines or at the gaming tables, the seats, you could stay in there for 2 days. They were the most comfortable seats I've ever sat in. And
urinals and seats at the slot machines. That's Margery.
Don't they? So
they
to
were
keep
fabulous.
sitting there and playing, even if you have back problems or whatever problems.
You mentioned some of the issues that are going to come up. I mean, a couple of things I'm still not clear about. I mean, one, we talked about the traffic situation, still up in the air. You've written about this. They're making a multi-million-dollar bet, I think you wrote about, on people not taking their cars. How about the employment situation? When they hire 5,000 people, which is a good thing, and a diverse group of 5,000 people, when the unemployment rate is so low in greater Boston, what is that going to do to businesses that have less of an allure to a new employee when they try to find people to work in their restaurants or their small business? Is that not going to be a problem?
Look, I don't think so because the economy is not always going to be this way, and I think the one thing that they really do deserve credit for is the sort of the diversity that they've been able to achieve, which so many other places have talked about but haven't done.
Achieved, right.
And so they really deserve credit for that. And I think if that's a problem, that's a good problem to have.
What are you watching most closely as a business columnist? I'm serious. In the next 6 months, 12 months, over there in Everett.
Well, I think you want to know. The big question is, on opening day, of course, everybody comes in. But what will happen a month from now,
when
2 months, 3 months? What will happen in the winter? I mean, a lot of people are concerned about what's going on with MGM Springfield. They opened in August, and then they went into the winter. And so what's going to happen to Encore? Can they sustain pretty strong numbers through the winter?
What are you looking at, Margery?
As you said a million times on the radio, I think Governor Baker a long time ago was right when he said, let's do one and see what happens.
When he was a citizen, he said
yes,
that. Yes,
because I am worried about, Plainville or Plainridge, whatever it is, and then MGM in Springfield, which is not doing as well maybe as they thought. Because I really want this place to succeed, especially because all these people that we talked about how the casino paid them well when they were in training so they could pay their bills for that month. We've had people call us on the radio, so these are the best jobs they've ever had in terms of pay and benefits. So I want it to succeed, but I'm not convinced it will.
If Matt Maddox or Bob DeSalvio called you on the phone, I don't mean it's a joke, as a guy obsessed with traffic, could you create a plan for them that didn't break the proverbial bank that would allow them, again, to contribute to the solution rather than to the problem?
No.
Okay, well, on that note, Charlie, it's
The footbridge. Come on, you got to give it
good
the
to see you,
footbridge to
Charlie.
Assembly
Thank you so
Square.
much, Shirley. Great to see you. And I'll see you
you
tomorrow
will.
at 11 o'clock
Yes, you will.
at the Boston Public Library. Thank you all for being here.